In this final section, we are going to talk about the years after the Hudson's Bay Company and the Vancouver Barracks. Prior to discussing the transformation of Fort Vancouver, I believe it important to discuss the cultural diversity of the Hudson Bay Company employees that lived in the fort's village. According to the National Park Service, the Hudson's Bay Company employed natives of England, Scotland, Russia, Canada, Hawaii, French Canadians, and several Native American nations. According to Douglas Wilson, the United States and Great Britain signed a treaty in 1846 that set the international boundary at the 49th parallel. 3 years later, the U.S. Army established its first fort in the new American territory on the prairie of the Hudson's Bay Trading Post. Shown in this video are the artillery barracks with the original Fort Vancouver seen in the distance. These artillery barracks were built in 1904. This is the Red Cross building. According to signs inside the National Historic Trust, the settler's office, also known as a trading post, was set up to provide goods to employees and soldiers at the fort. This concept later evolved into the United States Army Post Exchange System. According to Wanda Balthus, this post hospital was used during World War I. She states that during World War I, the flu epidemic was so rampant and deaths were overwhelming. The flu season came at the coldest part of the winter and the ground was too frozen for burials. The basement was converted into a temporary morgue to accommodate the overflow. As you drive through the National Historic Site, you will notice several buildings or homes dating from the mid-1800s through World War II. Historically important generals that were also stationed at Fort Vancouver's barracks included General George C. Marshall and General O.O. Howard. According to the National Park Service employees, this large field located between the original fort and the Pearson Army Airfield housed a large lumber yard that provided wood in support of World War I. Douglas Wilson also tells us that while the Grant House is named in honor of President Ulysses S. Grant, he never actually lived in the house. This is the Army Air Corps building and a plane indicative of the type flown during World War I. On September 14, 2011, military operations ceased at Fort Vancouver Barracks, and the entire installation was subsequently placed into the trust of the National Park Service.